Chapter is titled One Word of Encouragement Can Change the Future. Unlike in Christianity, there are many thousands of scriptures in the Buddhist tradition. Some are highly philosophical, others are mainly stories that contain important life lessons. My favorite is the Lotus Sutra, which has both philosophical teachings and didactic narratives. Like any sacred text, the more I study it, the more I am awed by its depth. As I was reading the Lotus Sutra again recently, one chapter in particular, Prophecy of Enlightenment for 500 Disciples, caught my attention. It describes the Buddha giving a prophecy of complete enlightenment to his 500 disciples, telling them that they will all become Buddhas after a certain period of time. A prophecy of enlightenment is the Buddha's guarantee, as well as his prediction of when and at what time his disciples will reach the final stage of Buddhahood. Hearing the Buddha's encouraging words about their future, the 500 disciples are elated and make a vow to engage continuously in spiritual practice. Whenever I come across this story of the Buddha's prophecy, it reminds me of my elementary school teacher, Miss Lee, who predicted great things about my future. By all means, I was just an average kid. I was of average height and came from a middle class family. I was not the brightest student, but neither was I a troublemaker. I remember Miss Lee as a strict woman in her mid 30s. She had one son who attended the same school. I knew him quite well because we had been in the same class the previous year. One day, as I was walking across the yard after school, Miss Lee's son came up to me and invited me home to play at his house. He said his parents had bought him some new toys. I was very much tempted, but was afraid I might run into Miss Lee. Understanding my hesitation, my friend assured me that his mom rarely came home before 4 o'clock. I agreed to play with him only if I could leave before 4 o'clock. We had a lot of fun playing with his new toys. I became absorbed in playing and completely forgot about the time when the front door swung open and my teacher walked in. I tensed up, worried that I would be chastised for playing instead of doing my homework. To my surprise, Miss Lee greeted me with a big smile. She spoke to me warmly and gave me a hug as though I were her son. In her embrace, I realized she was actually a kind and loving person, but she had no choice but to appear strict at school because she had to maintain control over the class. She gave me a snack that she gave my friend only on special occasions. As I ate it, she stroked my head gently and said, "You are going to be a good student and a role model for your friends. I trust that you will become a great person who brings wisdom and happiness to a lot of people." My young heart was moved beyond words. After that day, I studied very hard and tried to be a role model for the other students. Since Miss Lee had put her trust in me, I was determined not to disappoint her. I think I have become who I am today, thanks to what she said to me that afternoon. Without her kind words, I would not have had the confidence to excel academically or to become a professor or spiritual teacher. According to the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha makes the prophecy about his disciples because he has a supernatural ability to foresee when they would achieve the final stage of Buddhahood. But I do not think that they automatically attained enlightenment because they received the Buddha's prophecy. I think it had a lot to do with the Buddha's faith in them, which motivated them to work harder to accomplish what their teacher predicted. Like Miss Lee's words to me, the Buddha's trusting words and his loving gaze transformed the lives of his 500 disciples. One word of encouragement, said with kindness and hope, can change a person's future the way it did for the 500 disciples and for me. Some say they don't really know what they are looking for in life. This might be because instead of getting in touch with how they feel, they have led their lives according to other people's expectations. Live your life not to satisfy others, but to fulfill what your heart desires. My dear young friend, please don't feel discouraged just because you are slightly behind. Life isn't a 100-meter race against your friends, but a lifelong marathon against yourself. Rather than focusing on getting ahead of your friends, first try to discover your unique color. Hi, Min Sumin. I hope you become a great teacher like the Dalai Lama. Thank you for your kindness. I deeply admire His holiness. But I don't want to become the Dalai Lama. I would like to become Hai Min Sumin. Don't flit here and there like a school of fish just because that is what your friends do or because others say it is what you should do. Stand by your convictions, upend the existing paradigm, and become a trendsetter. There are things I would have liked to teach my child if I had one. No matter how famous, powerful, or rich some people are, they are not very different from anyone else. We long for deep connection and unconditional acceptance. We have the same insecurities and need for approval. There is no reason to feel inferior. If you are raising a child, then remember this. It is okay for your child to do well in one area and not so well in others. A restaurant specializing in a few good dishes is more likely to develop a good reputation than one with a lengthy menu. Help your child go deep in her area of interest. Intelligence is not just about getting straight A's and high SAT scores. It is also about being able to empathize and be attuned to how other people feel. Are you a controlling parent? Are you devoting too much attention to your child? If the answer is yes, then turn some of their attention towards your parents. If you are good to your own parents, then your child will learn how to treat you in the future. From a young age, some children are told to compete, worried about what their parents will say, insecure about how their friends will judge them. Let them know it is okay to enjoy life. Help them discover talents that cannot be graded. Respect them so they know what it feels like to be respected. Why doesn't high school teach essential life skills like how to cook, how to go out on a date, how to watch your weight, how to be financially responsible, how to pick yourself up after a setback, how to be mindful of your thoughts and emotions? Instead of building up a resume only to land a job, enjoy the process of learning something new. Don't do it just for the end, delight in the means too. Even if you have other motives for volunteering, in the process of helping out and connecting with people, you may discover the meaning of life and of happiness. This is why it is important to volunteer regardless of what compels you to do so in the first place. When it comes to learning a new skill, there are two kinds of people. One kind prefers to first study the typewriter, while the other starts by pounding on the keys. One likes to first master the grammar of a foreign language, while the other learns in the trenches, using body language if they must. Generally speaking, the second type tends to learn faster than the first because the second type is not afraid of making mistakes. There is no such thing as being completely prepared. Life is an adventure through which we learn and mature. Of course, we must consider all our options carefully, but if we wait for 100% certainty, then it is often too late. When you are about to make an important decision, there is always a moment of hesitation right before you sign on the dotted line. Don't pull back. You have come all this way after having given it a serious thought. Don't look back. Continue on your path courageously like a one horned rhinoceros. Sometimes you have to push through with your convictions. You cannot please everyone. Do not hold back just because you are afraid someone might criticize you. You will probably earn yourself a few enemies, but many others will respect you for standing up for what you believe. Do not turn down many opportunities. If you insist you need more preparation, you may not be invited again when you finally feel ready. You are ready. You can take up the challenge. When you wake up in the morning, say to yourself, I won't spend today passively, just doing what others tell me to do. I will take the lead and forge my own destiny. Establish a goal for the week. There is a big difference between having a goal and not having one. A significant accomplishment can be traced back to a single thought. Even if you have just a modest dream, don't keep it to yourself. Talk to others about it. By the time you tell 10 people, it is more likely to come true. Try these two things at the same time. Pretend you are already a champion and work diligently at becoming one. The gap between belief and reality will soon close. Okay, so this is the end of this chapter that I had been reading. There are a few things I really love about this chapter. So number one is do not turn down too many opportunities. If you insist you need more preparation, you may not be invited again when you finally feel ready. And it is so true. There are many times we feel that we aren't prepared enough, we haven't done enough, that that I am never enough. That kind of a thought comes in the mind, and we feel that we are not ready to take up the challenge. But know this that when an opportunity comes, it comes only because we are ready for it.